Jude Hartley stared at the holographic summons hovering above his desk, its pulsing blue light casting an eerie glow across his cramped laboratory. He blinked, certain he'd misread the ornate script. But no, the words remained unchanged. By decree of the Galactic Women's Tribunal, your presence is required. His stomach lurched. Everyone knew what those summons meant these days. Ever since Earth had joined the galactic community in 2215, things had gotten complicated, especially for human males of prime reproductive age. Jude ran a hand through his disheveled brown hair, his mind racing. There had to be some mistake. He was a geneticist, for crying out loud, not some Brockney material to be shipped off to God knows where. He had important work to do here on Earth, cures to find, mysteries of the human genome to unravel. A sharp knock at the lab door made him jump. "Dr. Hartley?" a clipped voice called out. "This is Agent Cora with Galactic Affairs. We need to discuss your summons." Jude's heart pounded. He considered making a run for it, but where would he go? The entirety of known space was under tribunal jurisdiction now. With a resigned sigh, he called out, "Come in." The door slid open to reveal a stern-faced woman in a crisp black uniform. Her eyes narrowed as she took in the cluttered state of Jude's lab. "I assume you've received the notification," she asked, not bothering with pleasantries. Jude nodded, gesturing half-heartedly at the hologram. "There must be some mistake. I'm a researcher, not a whatever it is you people are looking for." Agent Cora's lips thinned. "There's no mistake, Dr. Hartley. Your genetic profile has been deemed highly compatible with several non-human species currently facing severe population decline. As per the Galactic Reproduction Treaty of 2220, you are hereby conscripted for off-world breeding duty." Jude gaped at her. "Off-world breeding duty? You can't be serious. I have rights." "Your rights," Agent Cora said coolly, "are superseded by galactic law and the greater good of interspecies cooperation. Now, you have 2 hours to get your affairs in order before transport arrives. Pack light. You won't need much where you're going." With that, she turned on her heel and strode out, leaving Jude alone with his spinning thoughts. The journey to the Galactic Women's Tribunal took 3 days in hyperspace. Jude spent most of it in a state of numb disbelief, staring out the viewports at the swirling vortex of faster-than-light travel. How had his life come to this? When they finally emerged into normal space, Jude's breath caught in his throat. The Tribunal's headquarters was a massive space station, easily the size of a small moon. Its sleek, organic curves reminded him of a giant lotus blossom floating in the void. As their shuttle approached, Jude noticed hundreds of other small craft swarming around the station like busy insects. Some appeared to be arriving like his own. Others were departing, no doubt ferrying other conscripts to their new lives as glorified studs for alien races. The thought made his skin crawl. Their shuttle docked with a gentle thump, and Jude was escorted through gleaming corridors by a pair of blue-skinned guards. Their elongated limbs and large, almond-shaped eyes marked them as members of the Zarthi species, one of the elder races that had helped found the galactic community centuries ago. They brought him to a cavernous chamber filled with rows of benches. Dozens of human men milled about, all looking as shell-shocked as Jude felt. Some were arguing with officials. Others sat in stunned silence. A booming voice echoed through the chamber. "All new arrivals, please proceed to Processing Station 7 for initial screening and assignment." Jude shuffled forward with the crowd, his mind racing. There had to be a way out of this, some loophole, some way to appeal. At the processing station, a bored-looking Zarthi female scanned him with a handheld device. "Name?" she droned. "Jude Hartley," he replied, trying to keep the tremor out of his voice. "Look, there's been a mistake. I'm a geneticist, not some breeding stock. I have important research." The Zarthi cut him off with a dismissive wave. "Occupation is irrelevant. Genetic compatibility is all that matters here." She tapped something into her console. "You've been assigned to Tribunal Case 77249. Proceed to Hearing Room 12 immediately." Before Jude could protest further, he was whisked away by another set of guards. They marched him down twisting corridors until they reached an imposing set of doors marked Hearing Room 12. The doors slid open, revealing a circular chamber dominated by a raised dais. Seated upon it were three alien females, a Zarthi, a reptilian Slick, and a being Jude didn't recognize, with iridescent feathers instead of hair. But it was the figure standing before the dais that drew Jude's eye. A stunningly beautiful blue-skinned woman, clad in diaphanous robes that left little to the imagination. She turned as Jude entered, fixing him with eyes like liquid silver. "Ah," she purred, her voice rich and melodious. "The human specimen arrives at last." Jude bristled at being called a specimen, but before he could retort, the Zarthi judge spoke. "This tribunal is now in session," she intoned. "Case 77249, the petition of Senator Zira Kavoth for a human breeding partner. Dr. Jude Hartley, you stand accused of attempting to evade your galactic duty. How do you plead?" Jude's mind reeled. This was madness. "Not guilty," he blurted. I object to this entire proceeding. You can't just conscript people for breeding." The blue-skinned woman, Senator Kavoth presumably, let out a tinkling laugh. "Oh my, such spirit. I do hope you'll keep that fire once we're married, darling." "Married?" Jude sputtered. "Now wait just a minute." The slick judge cut him off with a hiss. "Silence, human. You will speak only when addressed by this tribunal." Jude clamped his mouth shut, seething. This couldn't be happening. The feathered judge leaned forward, fixing Jude with eyes like polished obsidian. "Dr. Hartley, perhaps you fail to grasp the gravity of the situation. Many species within the galactic community face dire population crises. The human genome offers unique adaptive qualities that could save entire civilizations from extinction. Your participation is not optional." But I have rights," Jude protested. "What about bodily autonomy? What about—" "Your antiquated notions of rights are irrelevant here," the Zarthi judge interrupted. "Galactic law supersedes all local customs and regulations. You will comply or face severe consequences." Senator Kavoth sauntered closer, trailing a delicate blue hand across Jude's chest. He flinched away from her touch. "Come now, my pet," she cooed. "Is the prospect of being my husband truly so terrible? I assure you, the pleasures I can offer far outweigh any inconvenience." Jude's skin crawled. "I won't be a part of this," he growled. "It's slavery, plain and simple." The senator's eyes flashed dangerously. "Careful, human. You tread on thin ice." The slick judge leaned forward, forked tongue flicking. "Perhaps the specimen requires motivation to cooperate?" Jude's blood ran cold at the implicit threat. He glanced around wildly, searching for some escape route, some way out of this nightmare. But the chamber was sealed, the guards watchful. He was trapped. The Zarthi judge raised a gavel-like instrument. "Dr. Jude Hartley, this tribunal finds you guilty of attempting to evade your galactic duty. You are hereby sentenced to fulfill your breeding obligations as the lawful husband of Senator Zira Kavoth. You will depart for her homeworld immediately to begin your new life. This case is closed." The gavel fell with a resounding crack, sealing Jude's fate. As the guards moved to escort him out, Senator Kavath's silvery laughter echoed through the chamber. "Oh, this will be such fun. I do so love breaking in the spirited ones." Jude's last glimpse, as the door slid shut behind him, was of the senator's predatory smile. The trip to Senator Kavath's homeworld passed in a blur for Jude. He spent most of it locked in his quarters aboard her personal yacht, alternating between fruitless attempts to reason with his captors and bouts of despairing rage. When they finally emerged from hyperspace, Jude pressed his face to the viewport, taking in his first glimpse of the alien world that was to be his new home. Zarthi Prime hung in space like a glittering sapphire, its surface a swirling mosaic of deep blues and vibrant teals. As they descended through the atmosphere, Jude saw vast cities of crystalline spires rising from azure seas. It was breathtakingly beautiful and utterly alien. They landed at a sprawling estate perched atop a cliff overlooking an endless ocean. Senator Kavath practically dragged Jude from the ship, eager to show off her new acquisition. "Welcome home, my pet," she purred, gesturing grandly. "I do hope you'll find your accommodation satisfactory. You'll want for nothing here, so long as you fulfill your duties, of course." Jude gritted his teeth, fighting back a biting retort. He had to play along, at least for now. Find some weakness, some way to escape this gilded cage. As they entered the mansion, a small army of blue-skinned servants swarmed around them. Kavath barked orders in her musical language, and Jude found himself whisked away to be prepared for some sort of welcoming ceremony. Hours later, scrubbed and dressed in ornate alien finery, Jude stood beside Senator Kavath in a grand hall filled with Zarthi nobility. The senator proudly showed him off like a prized pet, explaining to her peers how she'd procured such a fine specimen. Jude plastered on a fake smile, all the while his mind raced. There had to be a way out of this. Some flaw in their security, some sympathetic ear he could appeal to. He would find a way home, no matter what it took. But as the night wore on, and he caught glimpses of other human husbands scattered throughout the crowd, all wearing the same hollow-eyed look of defeat, a cold knot of dread formed in Jude's stomach. What if there was no escape? What if this truly was to be his life from now on? As if sensing his thoughts, Senator Kavath sidled up to him, wrapping a possessive arm around his waist. Now, my pet," she whispered. "Don't look so gloomy. The night is young, and we have so much celebrating to do." Her meaning was unmistakable. Jude suppressed a shudder as she led him from the hall toward her private chambers. "Welcome to your new life, Dr. Hartley," he thought bitterly. "Galactic stud extraordinaire." Jude awoke to the alien sunlight of Zarthi Prime streaming through gossamer curtains. For a blissful moment he forgot where he was. Then reality crashed down like a hammer blow. Senator Kavath's lithe blue form stirred beside him. Jude suppressed a shudder, memories of the previous night flooding back. He'd endured her attention, but each touch had felt like a violation. "Good morning, my pet," Kavath purred, silver eyes gleaming. "Ready for another invigorating day of cultural exchange?" Jude bit back a caustic retort. "Actually, I was hoping to explore the city. Get acclimated." Kavath's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Of course, darling. But first, we have an appointment at the fertility clinic. Can't neglect our primary objective, now can we?" Jude's stomach churned. "Right. The whole reason I'm here." Now, Kavath chided, running a hand down his arm. "Don't be so glum. Many would kill for your position. You're saving an entire species after all." "Lucky me," Jude muttered. The fertility clinic was a gleaming spire of crystal and biotechnology. Jude endured hours of invasive tests and sample collections, all while a team of blue-skinned doctors chattered excitedly about his genetic potential. Fascinating adaptability coefficients. Look at these telomere preservation factors. We could revolutionize our entire genome with this specimen. Jude gritted his teeth. I have a name, you know. The head doctor blinked at him in surprise. Of course you do. Judd 773, correct? Now, please provide another sample. Days blurred into weeks. Jude was poked, prodded, and milked like prized livestock. When he wasn't at the clinic, he was paraded around at Kavath's social functions, a trophy husband on display. He tried to make the best of it, to learn about Zarthi culture and maybe find some common ground. But everywhere he went, he was met with condescension or outright hostility. Oh, look at the little human, trying to use utensils. Careful, it might bite. I hear they're barely domesticated. Kavath, darling, however do you stand the smell? One night, after a particularly humiliating dinner party, Jude finally snapped. I can't do this anymore, he snarled, pacing their opulent bedroom. I'm a sentient being, not some breeding animal. Kavath lounged on the bed, watching him with amusement. Are you quite finished with your tantrum, pet? You knew what you were getting into when you signed the marriage contract. I didn't sign anything. I was kidnapped. Semantics, Kavath waved dismissively. The Tribunal's word is law. You should be grateful. Do you know how many would kill to be in your position? Jude's laugh was bitter. Right. I should be thrilled to be a glorified sperm donor. Kavath's eyes flashed dangerously. Watch your tone, human. Your comfort here depends entirely on my goodwill. Push me too far, and you might find yourself in far less pleasant accommodations. The threat hung heavy in the air. Jude's shoulders slumped in defeat. I'm sorry. I'll try to be more appreciative. Kavath's smile was all teeth. That's better. Now come to bed, darling. We have more cultural exchange to engage in. Jude complied, hating himself for his weakness. But as Kavath's hands roamed his body, his mind raced. There had to be a way out. He just needed time. Weeks turned to months. Jude learned to navigate the treacherous waters of Zarthi high society, plastering on a fake smile and playing the role of the docile human pet. All the while, he watched and listened, gathering every scrap of information he could. He wasn't the only human on Zarthi Prime. There were dozens, maybe hundreds, scattered across the planet, all in similar situations, breeding stock for the Zarthi elite. Some seemed to have accepted their fate, even embraced it. Others. Jude caught glimpses of the same desperate anger he felt burning in their eyes. One day, while accompanying Kavath on a shopping trip, Jude noticed a human server at an upscale cafe. As Kavath haggled over some frivolous bauble, Jude managed to make eye contact with the man. A silent understanding passed between them. Later, in the cafe's opulent restroom, Jude found a scrap of paper tucked behind a decorative plant. Midnight, docking bay 7, wear something nondescript, knock 3 times, pause, then twice more. Hope surged in Jude's chest. A resistance? An underground railroad? Whatever it was his chance. That night, after Kavath had fallen into a contented post-coital slumber, Jude slipped out of bed. He donned simple clothes he'd slowly accumulated over months, clothing that wouldn't stand out on the streets. Heart pounding, he made his way through the silent mansion. Every shadow seemed to hide a guard, every whisper of wind an alarm. But he made it to the sprawling gardens without incident. The security fence loomed before him, crackling with energy. Jude took a deep breath, then pulled out the keycard he'd painstakingly cloned from Kavoth's own. If he'd done it right. The force field flickered and died. Jude slipped through, resisting the urge to run. He had to be calm, act natural. The streets of the capital were never truly empty, even at this hour. Alien revelers stumbled from clubs while cleaning drones scuttled about their business. Jude kept his head down, just another anonymous figure in the night. Docking Bay 7 was in a seedier part of the spaceport, away from the glittering private yachts of the elite. Jude's palms were slick with sweat as he approached the nondescript door. 3 knocks. Pause. 2 more. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then the door slid open a crack, revealing a pair of wary human eyes. "Password?" a gruff voice demanded. Jude's mind raced. Password? The note hadn't mentioned. Wait. Earth, he breathed. The password is Earth. The door opened wider, revealing a burly man with the look of an ex-soldier. "Get in, quick." Jude slipped inside, finding himself in a dimly lit cargo hold. A dozen other humans were gathered there, all wearing the same mix of hope and fear he felt. "Welcome to the Resistance, brother," the big man said, clapping Jude on the shoulder. "Name's Marcus, former Earth Defense Force. You're just in time. The shit's about to hit the fan." "What do you mean?" Jude asked. Marcus grinned fairly. "Haven't you heard? There's a revolution brewing back home. Seems folks ain't too happy about their men being snatched up for alien breeding programs. There've been riots, attacks on Tribunal outposts, and now—" He gestured to a bank of computers where several people worked feverishly. "We're coordinating a mass breakout, not just here on Zarthi Prime, but across a dozen worlds. We're gonna show these blue-skinned bastards they can't treat us like cattle." Jude's head spun. "But how? They have us outnumbered, outgunned." "Maybe," a new voice chimed in. A petite woman with close-cropped hair stepped forward. "But we have surprise on our side, and desperation. You'd be amazed what humans can accomplish when pushed too far." She stuck out her hand. "I'm Sarah, formerly of the Terran Diplomatic Corps before this whole mess started. You must be Jude. We've heard about you, the geneticist turned trophy husband. Your skills could be invaluable." Jude shook her hand, still reeling. I want to help, but won't they come looking for us? For me?" Marcus chuckled darkly. "Oh, they'll be far too busy to worry about a few missing pets. In about—" He checked his watch. 30 minutes. Coordinated attacks will hit every major Zarthi installation on this rock. Comm centers, power plants, government buildings. Meanwhile, our allies back in the Sol system are launching their own offensive." Sarah nodded grimly. "It's all or nothing now. We either win our freedom or—" She didn't need to finish the thought. Jude understood the stakes all too well. "What do you need me to do?" he asked. Sarah's smile was fierce. "How much do you know about Zarthi biology? Because we have some ideas for turning their own genetic engineering against them." The next few hours passed in a blur of feverish activity. Jude pored over stolen medical data, looking for weaknesses they could exploit. Others prepared weapons, hacked computer systems, or coordinated with cells on other worlds. Just before dawn, the first explosions rocked the city. Alarms blared as Zarthi security forces scrambled to respond. On view screens throughout the hidden base, Jude watched chaos unfold across the planet. Human servants turned on their masters. Alien ships fell from the sky, their systems hijacked. And everywhere, the downtrodden masses of humanity rose up in rebellion. "It's time," Marcus bellowed over the din. "Everyone to your stations. Today, we take back our future." As Jude rushed to join a team heading for the Central Genetics Facility, his mind flashed to Kavoth. Was she safe? Did he even care? He pushed the thought aside. There would be time for moral quandaries later. Right now, he had a revolution to win. The streets were pandemonium. Fires raged unchecked as looters, human and alien alike, took advantage of the chaos. Jude's team moved swiftly through back alleys, avoiding the worst of the fighting. They were nearly to the genetics center when a familiar voice stopped Jude cold. Well, what have we here? Senator Kavoth emerged from the shadows, flanked by heavily armed guards. Her silver eyes blazed with fury. "I'm disappointed in you, pet," she hissed. "I gave you everything, and this is how you repay me, by joining this pitiful little uprising?" Jude stood his ground, fear warring with newfound resolve. "It's over, Kavoth. Humanity won't be your breeding stock any longer." Kavoth's laughter was cruel. "You think you can win? You're nothing but animals to us. Playthings. We'll crush this rebellion and put you all back in your proper place." She raised a hand, energy crackling at her fingertips. "Starting with you, my darling Jude." Time seemed to slow. Jude saw Kavoth's attack coming, saw his teammates raising their weapons. In that moment, he made a choice that would shape the future of two species. He dove forward, tackling Kavoth to the ground. Energy sizzled over his head as both sides opened fire. "Run!" he shouted to his team. "Complete the mission. I'll hold them off." As chaos erupted around them, Jude grappled with the woman who had been both his tormentor and his wife. For better or worse, their fates were now intertwined. The revolution had begun, and Jude Hartley, reluctant hero, was at its heart. Jude's world exploded into chaos. He and Kavoth rolled across the ground, her energy blast scorching the pavement where they'd stood moments before. The air filled with the acrid smell of ozone and the staccato of weapon fire. "You fool!" Kavoth hissed, her silver eyes blazing with fury. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Jude grappled with her, using his greater mass to pin her down. "I'm taking back control of my life," he grunted. "Of all our lives." Kavoth's laugh was bitter. "And you think your primitive species can survive without us? You need us, Jude. More than you know." A nearby explosion rocked the ground, showering them with debris. Jude used the distraction to wrench free of Kavoth's grasp. He scrambled to his feet, backing away as she rose with preternatural grace. "Maybe we did need you once," Jude said, his mind racing. "But not like this. Not as slaves." Kavoth's lips curled into a sneer. "Is that what you think you were? Oh, my pet, you understand so little." She lunged forward, faster than Jude thought possible. Her hand closed around his throat, lifting him off his feet with inhuman strength. Jude choked, clawing at her fingers. "I could crush you like the insect you are," Kavoth snarled. "But then, who would I have to play with?" Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through the din of battle. "Let him go, you blue-skinned bitch!" Sarah appeared from the smoke, leveling a stolen Zarthi weapon at Kavoth's head. The senator's eyes narrowed, but she didn't release her grip on Jude. "Ah, the little rebel leader," Kavoth purred. "Come to save your pet scientist?" Sarah's finger tightened on the trigger. "I said, let him go. Now." For a tense moment, no one moved. Then, with a dramatic sigh, Kavoth released Jude. He collapsed to the ground, gasping for air. "Run along then, little humans," Kavoth said, her tone dripping with condescension. "Play at your revolution. When you come crawling back, begging for our help, remember this moment." With a flash of blue light, she vanished. Some sort of personal teleporter, Jude realized. He struggled to his feet, his throat burning. "You okay?" Sarah asked, not taking her eyes off the spot where Kavath had stood. Jude nodded, massaging his neck. "Thanks for the save. Where are the others?" "Completing the mission," Sarah said grimly. "We need to move. Now." They sprinted through the war-torn streets of the Zarthi capital. All around them, the sounds of battle raged. Human rebels clashed with Zarthi security forces. Fires raged unchecked, and the sky was filled with the crisscrossing trails of spacecraft. "There!" Sarah pointed to a sleek shuttle touching down in a nearby plaza. "Our ticket out of here." As they approached, Jude saw Marcus waving frantically from the open hatch. "Come on, you two. We gotta go." They piled into the shuttle, joining a dozen other human rebels. The vessel shuddered as it lifted off, dodging energy blasts from pursuing Zarthi fighters. "Did we do it?" Jude asked, strapping himself in. "Did we complete the mission?" Marcus grinned, his face streaked with soot and blood. "Oh yeah, the genetic facility is toast, and that was just the beginning." Sarah nodded, her eyes gleaming with fierce pride. "Reports are coming in from all over. Earth, Mars, the other colonized worlds. Humanity is rising up everywhere. We've dealt the Zarthi a blow they won't soon forget." As their shuttle broke atmosphere, Jude got his first view of the space battle raging above Zarthi Prime. Human ships, a ragtag fleet of stolen vessels and repurposed civilian craft, clashed with the sleek Zarthi warships. Against all odds, the humans seemed to be holding their own. "We're getting a transmission," the pilot called out. It's from Earth." A hollow screen flickered to life, revealing the determined face of an older woman in a military uniform. "This is Admiral Chen of the Earth Defense Force. To all human rebels fighting across the galaxy, hold the line. Reinforcements are on the way. I repeat, reinforcements are coming. Today, we take back our freedom." A cheer went up from the shuttle's passengers. Jude felt a swell of hope in his chest. They might actually win this. The journey back to Earth was a blur of tense dogfights and nail-biting hyperspace jumps. But finally, after what felt like an eternity, the blue-green orb of humanity's homeworld filled their view screen. "My God," Jude breathed. "I never thought I'd see it again." As they descended through the atmosphere, Jude saw the scars of recent battle. Smoke rose from several major cities, and the skies were thick with military craft. But there was an unmistakable air of triumph. They landed at a makeshift base outside Washington, D.C. As Jude stepped off the shuttle on shaky legs, he was engulfed in a sea of jubilant humanity. People laughed, cried, and embraced complete strangers. "Dr. Hartley?" a voice called out. Jude turned to see Admiral Chen approaching, flanked by a team of aides. "We've heard a lot about you. Your work was instrumental in turning the tide." Jude blinked in surprise. "My work?" Sarah stepped up beside him, grinning. "The data you collected on Zarthi biology? We used it to develop a targeted virus, knocked out their shields, scrambled their nav systems. We couldn't have won without it." I had no idea," Jude stammered. Admiral Chen clasped his shoulder. "You're a hero, Doctor. All of you are. But our work is far from over. We've won our freedom, but now we need to secure it. That's where you come in." Over the next few weeks, Jude found himself at the center of a whirlwind of activity. He worked tirelessly with other scientists and military strategists, using his knowledge of Zarthi technology to bolster Earth's defenses. But even as humanity celebrated its victory, Jude couldn't shake a nagging sense of unease. Kavath's final words haunted him. "You need us more than you know." One night, unable to sleep, Jude snuck into the lab where they kept salvage Zarthi tech. He pored over data files, searching for, he wasn't sure what. Burning the midnight oil, Doc? Jude jumped at the sound of Sarah's voice. She leaned against the doorframe, watching him with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Sorry, I can't shake this feeling we're missing something, Jude said, running a hand through his disheveled hair. Sarah's expression grew serious. You're not the only one. Come on, there's something you need to see. She led him to a secure briefing room where Admiral Chen and a group of grim-faced officials waited. Dr. Hartley, Chen nodded. I'm glad you're here. We've intercepted a transmission from the Zarthi homeworld. I think you'll want to hear this. A holographic display flickered to life, showing a familiar blue face. Kavoth. People of Earth, she began, her tone uncharacteristically subdued. You have won your freedom, and for that, I congratulate you. But in your haste to cast off our oppression, you have doomed not only yourselves but countless other species across the galaxy. Jude's breath caught in his throat as Kavoth continued. The breeding program you so despised, it wasn't about subjugation, it was about survival. A great calamity is coming, a threat that will consume all life if left unchecked. We sought to combine our strengths to create a new hybrid species capable of weathering the storm. Images flashed across the screen, star systems consumed by some sort of cosmic anomaly, entire planets reduced to ash. You have made your choice, Kavoth concluded, but know this. When the darkness comes, you will stand alone. The transmission cut out, leaving the room in stunned silence. Is it true, Sarah whispered, or just another manipulation? Jude's mind raced, piecing together fragments of information he'd gathered during his time on Zarthi Prime. The obsession with genetics, the cryptic comments about humanity's potential. I think it might be, he said slowly. But that doesn't justify what they did to us. There had to be another way. Admiral Chen's expression was grim. If this threat is real, we'll need to prepare, but we'll do it on our terms, as free people. In the days that followed, Jude threw himself into his work with renewed vigor. Earth began reaching out to other species who had suffered under Zarthi rule, forming new alliances. Slowly, a plan began to take shape, a united front against whatever cosmic horror awaited them. Months passed. Earth's defenses grew stronger, its fleet more formidable. And then, one day, the sensors picked up an anomaly at the edge of the solar system. As alarms blared and humanity prepared for its greatest challenge, Jude found himself on the bridge of Earth's flagship. Sarah stood beside him, her hand finding his. You ready for this? She asked, a hint of a smile on her lips. Jude took a deep breath, gazing out at the stars. He thought of all they'd been through, the pain, the struggle, the triumph. Whatever came next, they would face it together, not as slaves or pets, but as equals, as humans. Yeah, he said, squeezing Sarah's hand. I think I am. The ship's engines thrummed to life as they set course for the unknown. Jude Hartley, once a reluctant conscript, now stood tall as a defender of Earth. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity would forge its own path among the stars. As they accelerated towards their destiny, Jude couldn't help but smile. It wasn't the ending he'd expected when he'd first been summoned by the Galactic Women's Tribunal. But then again, the best stories rarely end the way we think they will. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning.